study producing in graduate school at USC. So I've studied every kind of writing you can, I've read all the books, I've read all the scripts, and I've studied all of the kinds of creative writing you could do. And I love it all. And I'm really excited to be here today. My favorite show right now is probably Friday Night Lights, like a long running one, but I love just about anything that's on Netflix for like teens. I'm a big teen I'm a Riverdale girl. I'm a Never Have I Ever girl. You know, if it's set in high school, I'm watching it. So then my favorite movie is probably A Cinderella Story, which Claire, you might be a little too young for in terms of like, I was your age when I saw it the first time, but it still holds up. Princess Bride is also a favorite. And yeah, so that's me. If you guys want to share name, favorite show, and if there's anything else you want to share, now's the time.
Claire, why don't you start?
I'm Claire, and probably my favorite TV show is Gilmore Girls. I'm obsessed with Gilmore Girls. And probably my favorite movie and book is probably The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. It's my favorite.
Excellent. Really excellent. Great books, great movie, an adaptation that's done well.
All right, I'm Jennifer Barshaw. My favorite TV show is probably The Crown. I like the history, which I know it's not true, but I still like it. My favorite book is To Kill a Mockingbird, so it's an old classic. And I also really like the Harry Potter series.
I mean,
all of them all together.
I mean, who doesn't?
Can't go wrong.
I'm a Hufflepuff, so
that's funny. I've never done that test because I don't want to know that I'm a Slytherin.
Hey, I'm a Slytherin. There's nothing wrong with us.
Are you? Okay. I don't know. Yeah. And I read all the time. So I probably read a book every, 10 days or so. So it's hard to pick a favorite, but I have a signed copy of To Kill a Mockingbird. And if there's ever a fire in my house, that is one of the things that will be saved.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I read a lot of books. So I'm always like, what is my favorite book?
Yeah.
Good question.
Yeah. And I do not have a favorite movie. I don't know. Maybe
Jennifer,
Breakfast
Club. Are you a
Club.
teacher at South Lyon?
Yep, I teach 8th grade American history at Centennial. Okay. And when Elizabeth was in my class, I don't think I had her for history, though. I think you were in my English class. Do you know?
No, you were my history teacher.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because back in 07, 08, I was teaching English, history, and drama, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just, because I know there's like several Barshaws in the SLH or SLCS district, so I wasn't sure which Barshaw you were.
Yeah, there's, well,
and then a Barshaw at Millennium too, who teaches choir. Or is she not there anymore?
Baddish.
Okay, because I remember there being a Jack Barshaw a couple years younger than me.
My beloved.
Is that your son?
That is my son.
Okay.
He was one of my campers. And I love him.
It was like, I know he's much younger. Like, I don't know how old he is, but I know he's younger than me. I was never in school with him, but.
Yeah, he's a junior in college now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Means nothing to me at this point.
Yeah, well, he'll be 21 next month. How's that?
Okay. Yeah, so he's my neighbor. He's 5 years younger than me, 6 years younger than me. I don't know. Anyway, I'm Natalie. By the way, Claire, if you're a regular Young Writers Club person, I don't know if you are or not. I'm taking over this. I'm the new youth program assistant. So hi. Gosh, my favorite TV show changes all the time. I really like the British teen dramas because they're fun, and the ones on Netflix Get Even was really good. Oh man, what was another one I just watched? I binge watched a whole bunch of shows last year, so I can't even remember most of them. But I like Riverdale too. And Sabrina, and Teenage Bounty Hunters, and then they canceled it after one season because Netflix does that to me with every show. I'm like, oh, I like this one, and then they're like, just kidding, it doesn't exist.
It's so cruel.
I'm like,
It's so cruel.
Good. I didn't need closure. My favorite book is The Phantom Tollbooth, and I don't really have a favorite movie. I just miss movie theaters.
I miss movie theaters so much.
I just miss them.
Soon. Someday.
Yeah.
Someday.
I mean, like, we can kind of go again now, but it's not the same.
No. I miss like going by myself and getting a large popcorn and watching like Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them by yourself.
Date. You just take yourself out on a date. It's so nice.
It's the best. It's not Netflix is not the same for that, but yeah.
So yeah.
Amazing. Well, I'm loving the ladies' energy today. Happy International Women's Day, everyone. Important things. So let's get started. And Claire, you're my favorite person today because you're here. I'm glad. I love that we're all wearing glasses also. Just sorry, I'm very easily distracted today. Okay, so I have some prompts and we're just going to go through them. And we're going to write some stuff. You can write it however you want. Poetry, prose, script if you want, if you're feeling fancy. Because again, like it's all good. I write it all. It's all good for different things. So we'll just get started. The first prompt is going to be write a scene between two characters who are mad at each other. You can be as explicit with the anger as you want. They can be yelling at each other, or it can be more of a simmering anger, like somebody has a secret and the other one knows there's a secret, but they don't know what it is. So yeah, just go wild and think about like when you're mad at somebody, how does that come forward? Are you more of a quiet anger? Is it more explosive? Are you pretty clinical, or are you more reserved or passive aggressive? Yeah, just dive right in. All right. Does anybody want to share what they wrote? You don't have to if you like don't want to. I would never make anyone share things they don't want to share. It's horrifying.
So I know this is a young adult one, but I have a hard time coming from that situation since I'm an old adult. So I wrote about a fight between a husband and wife.
Excellent.
Which I don't even relate to anymore anyway, because I don't even have a husband. So, but it was kind of like a sitcom-y kind of like stupid, goofy kind of thing. So the wife says, look, if you don't know why I'm mad, then I'm even more mad. And then he says, okay, fine. I'm sorry I used your toothbrush. She goes, you what? He goes, well, I'm sorry I didn't change the toilet paper roll. Right. Like I'd be this angry about toilet paper. Whatever it is, you're right. I should know better. I'm sorry. Clearly you are stupid, she says. Why did I marry a stupid one? I am angry because you, and then I couldn't think of something she'd be angry about. Like I probably should have thought of that ahead of time. So I'm like, because you used up all the gas in the car and left it on empty for me. And also because you used my toothbrush.
I love that. I love the reveal of like when somebody tells a secret that isn't the thing that the person's mad about. And it's just like a double whammy. Because
yes.
you reveal too much. I mean, have we not all done this? And where like your mom's mad at you and you're like, yeah, I'm so sorry. I definitely, I did. What did I do?
Because the list is so long.
The list is too long. Claire, would you like to share? You don't have to again. I don't want to bully you.
I'll share. I kind of did an introduction of my story, but so I said when Sally and Frank, they were not as similar as they were expecting they would be. But one day Frank walked into Sally's room when they were having a play date, and he found a stuffed animal bear that says, I love the movie 16 Candles. Frank yelled, Sally, you little monster. She walked in and he said, I said, don't buy rom-com accessories. She said, I can buy whatever I want. I am human. Then, as he was about to say something, she said, get out of my room. She felt a sense of relief after he left.
I'm obsessed with that because I too buy too much merchandise from things I love and get called out for it. So me and Sally, the same person. I love that we stick with her afterwards. And so when he leaves and she's like relieved, like that's such a nice ending to that story. She's like, all the anger that you build up, we get the sense that we get to take the breath out with her at the end, which I thought was really good. I actually took this prompt from a writing class that I did, so I'll just read you a snippet because I did not write this in the 5 minutes I gave you guys, but I'll read you a snippet of what I wrote. Kennedy, it was a script writing class. Kennedy's asleep at 3:30 a.m. There's a calendar above her bed. It says 8 a.m. meeting for the next day. There's a crash. It sounds like an avalanche in the quiet of the late night, early morning. Her roommate, Maddie, walks in. Oops. Maddie. Kennedy. And then Kennedy says, it's Wednesday. I have a meeting tomorrow. You know that, Maddie. Can you please be quiet? Maddie says, no, you should have come out with us. It would have been so fun. And then Maddie starts, I can't read. Guys, I'm so sorry. Okay, Maddie, will you get me a water? Kennedy groans but disappears into the kitchen. We hear the faucet running. She returns with a cup of water from the bathroom down the hall. She hands it to Maddie. I'm going to bed. Will you please be quiet? Maddie says, okay. Kennedy lays in bed. She tosses and turns, getting comfortable. It's quiet until a TV turns on. The Parks and Rec theme song blares from Maddie's room. Kennedy gets up and storms down the hall. Was this based on real life events? Maybe. Not my current roommate, but sometimes you live with people. They don't respect that you work in the morning. And they just go about their day at 3 a.m. watching Parks and Rec. Great. Well, that was a good little warm up. We're all in the groove now. Let's, in a similar vein, I want everybody to tell a story that begins with a character finding a mysterious book. Is it a murder mystery? Is it a love story? Is it a adventure like Jumanji? Are they going to disappear into the book? Who knows? You have 5 minutes to find out. This is really impressive to me because I've always been a terrible handwriter, and my handwriting is so big that these things take me so long. I'm like, one word. Oh, it's been a minute. Does anybody have something they'd like to share with the group?
I actually kind of like that it's I'm writing it down because I'm so sick of typing nowadays. It's like kind of relaxed. It's kind of nice to write things out.
Yeah, that's fair. I also find that I am much less critical of myself when I handwrite stuff. Like sometimes if I just want to get an idea on the page, I find that it's easier if I just like go pen to paper because I'm like, whatever, it doesn't have to be good. No one's going to see it. It's in my notebook.
Right. And if you ever type it out, then you can just like kind of, figure it out then. But if you're typing something, I always go back to even fix my spelling, which is ridiculous.
Exactly. I get too caught up in like what is on the page because it seems too presentational and like somebody could see it at any second. Whereas if it's in my notebook, I'm like, I can cross it out. I can scribble all over it. Nobody's going to know. Nobody's going to care. I once read a hack, which I only read after I graduated from all of the school I went to, was write all of your essays in Comic Sans font, because it is the same like trick in your brain where you're like, oh, it's Comic Sans. No one's ever going to see it, and you get it done faster. I was like, I'm not sure.
Yeah, what if you accidentally send it?
I know. Comic Sans has a time and place. In an academic paper, not so much.
No. I wonder if it's generational though, because like I grew up when you had to type something to turn it in. So it felt more official if it was typed up. So, I mean, but I don't know. Do people keep journals and diaries anymore? Like, do they keep them written or do they do them in computers? I don't know.
I keep a handwritten journal, but that's because I am a writer with insomnia. So I like to keep something by my bed, and usually it's just half baked, like 2 a.m., like 5 sentences of like, here's a good idea for something. And then I go to sleep and look at it the next day and I'm like, that's bad. Let's never speak of that again.
I do the same thing, but not writing things. Like I have ideas for a job or something, and then I read them the next morning and I was like, I was half asleep or something, because that doesn't even make sense. So yeah. I don't know, Claire, do you write things out or do you type them?
I'd rather write it out because then I remember it. So.
Yeah, if you write things out, you do remember if you type them. So
I can get us started on sharing this round. Through the dusty library, scanning the bookshelves for something Peter had told her. Can't read. For something. Peter had told her the book would be there. Its cracked leather binding obvious among the glossy hardcovers and the bright paperbacks. Finally, she saw it. The black looked worn and brittle, and when she picked it up, the book seemed to hum in her hands like it was alive. She opened it, and on the first page, she read the words, "Who are you, Alba?" Dun, dun, dun. If anybody feels like sharing, otherwise we'll move on to the next prompt. All right, cool. Well, the next prompt is a 5 senses story. I always like to do these in my writing classes because I always think they're fun. So if it's terrible, I'm really sorry. It won't be, it'll be fun. Basically, the 5 senses story is exactly like it sounds. You're going to just write a story and make sure you include all of the 5 senses. So hearing, sight, smell, touch, and taste in your story, but it can be anything. So go wild if there's a story in your brain that you want to get on paper. Again, like it's nice because any genre, any number of characters, just hitting all of those senses, because that's really what makes your writing come alive. I know even in script writing, like I always appreciate when I know in my stage directions or from the characters and the way they're talking, how they're feeling, because you really want to build that world for your reader. As we all know, as people who love to read, you know, you really want to make sure you hit all the senses. So that's what we're going to do now. And we'll come back at like 5 minutes from now. How are we doing? Everybody good? Okay. How was that? What do we think? Are we feeling in touch with all of our senses?
I think so.
Anybody come up with something mildly brilliant they want to share? And by mildly brilliant, I mean like you come up with anything. It's all subjective.
I have full sentences.
That's important.
Mm-hmm. So
full sentences.
I feel like it is brilliant. And it's about the dog, so I'll share. All right. So Pippa was growling when she woke up to the heavy corgi sitting on her chest. Touch. One eye opens and she could see, barely, her corgi looking across the room at the door. Shh. And a pause. Nothing. The faint hum of the Roomba downstairs, but nothing that would make the dog angry. Morning breath. Ugh, dog breath. Ugh. Mornings are so disgusting. Another growl, and then the faint creak of a floorboard at the bottom of the stairs. Someone was in the house.
Pins and needles.
I know. I live alone, so you can see my fears.
I don't live alone, but I am also afraid when I hear things in the house. Like, Jacqueline, is that you? And she's usually like, yes, that's me. I am in the kitchen. Or she has her headphones in, and then she does.
Yeah.
Then then I have to investigate because I'm like, this is it.
I think it was actually worse when the kids were home, because then I was like, Jack? And then he wouldn't answer. So then I'd have to get up. So.
Natalie, Claire, how are we feeling?
I forgot about the 5 senses thing and just got caught up in writing, so I won't.
You know what? That's okay.
I was like,
you were writing.
5 senses. Smell.
It's fine.
Ignore that.
I'm thankful for anything that makes me put a story on paper. You know what I mean? Like, who cares?
I also am like writing, and I'm like, wow, my handwriting's really slanted. Is it always like this? So.
Mine is bad. I have bad handwriting.
I also thought you said 5 sentences at first.
Oh, well.
How can I write a story in 5 sentences?
That's a different kind of prompt, but I wish that had been the prompt, honestly.
It's a good prompt.
Yeah, it is. Put that one
Yeah, put that in my brain for another month.
Yeah. Claire's like, these people are so weird.
Yeah, it's old people, Claire.
And you would be right.
Do you have anything, Claire?
I guess I'll share. Jordana walked into an old log cabin. All she could smell was some fried chicken and gravy. She wondered, that's odd, and moved on forward into the house. She headed up the stairs and touched the dusty wooden rails. They looked like old dog bones. Yuck, she yelled. She moved on to see what she could find that is valuable in the basement, until she walked closer to the basement and heard wings flapping against the edges of the walls. She said, no, it couldn't possibly be bats. She was so scared she ran out of the house yelling, never, never. Her presence of her was left in that house for many, many years. When she ran out of the house, she was so hungry, she decided to eat sap off the trees in the woods. Not a good choice.
Wait, was Jordana up there to rob the house? Tell me more, Claire. I need more.
Kind of, but like she was there to like pick up some valuable things for I don't know, like she probably worked in a museum or something and she needed more valuable things, so she's I've wandered across this wooden cabin, and she's afraid of a lot of things. So
obsessed. This is the beginning of a great story, because I'm like, now I'm intrigued because I'm curious about her. I want to know why the house is empty, right? But it smells like food. This is great. I'm totally enthralled. I want to know where this is going.
Definitely some ghosts up in there.
Oh, for sure. When you write the novel, just slip a copy in the mail for me. Would love to know what happens to my girl. Amazing. We'll move on to the next prompt if everybody's good. Oh, Natalie, would you like to share your 5 sentences? I forgot to offer. You don't have to. It's not. Only if you want to.
Well, no, I wrote more than 5 sentences.
Oh, okay.
I was writing, but then I forgot about the senses part.
Oh, got it. Okay.
So it's just like the beginning of a thing, and then I was like, "What's happening? I don't remember anymore."
That's fine. Do you want to share, or you want to hold on to it?
No, that's okay. I'll hang on to it.
All right. Great. Okay. We'll go into this one and we'll do 10 minutes luxury, because this is the fairy tale plot twist. So I want you to retell me your favorite fairy tale, or if you can't think of a fairy tale on the spot, because I never can, comic book story, plot line of your favorite movie or book, story from your real life. But I want you to give me an unexpected plot twist. Does the princess fall in love with the dragon instead of the prince? Is the villain of the story the town superhero? Like, is Spider-Man bad the whole time? Tom Holland would never do me dirty like that, but maybe in your world he does. So we're going to go for 10 minutes, come back at 7. Again, it can be really any story. Just give it a juicy plot twist. But if you can think of a fairy tale, that's always a good base. Because if you look at it, most stories in the world are fairy tales just tweaked. Is everybody ready? How did everybody's story go? Mine got unexpectedly very dark. You would think I would prepare for these prompts because I came up with them days ago, and I would have had, nope, just going at it with you guys, and well, wild things happen. Anybody want to share their story? Claire has a little grin, like she's got something really good.
I'll go. Mine is about Cinderella. So, as the story continues, Cinderella arrives back at the palace after her wedding with the prince. They fell asleep unexpectedly fast. The next day, they woke to birds chirping and a fresh cup of tea. While Cinderella was drinking the tea, she said some unexpected things that came out of her mouth. She told the prince, "I worked with Cruella de Vil and shaved puppies for clothing." The prince was in shock. He thought that was madness. He thought she was serious, so he hired a private investigator to look into her and found some juicy things. She worked with not only Cruella de Vil, but Ursula. The prince was so mad, he went up to her to see if she would admit it, but she said, "Absolutely not." He knows that she was lying, so Cinderella had gotten a divorce from the prince and was sentenced to 25 years in prison. The prince visited her on occasion, but he said, "Cinderella, you got what you deserved," and he walked out of the prison loudly. The end.
Wow, what a plot twist! But I'm kind of obsessed with it. I love the princess being secretly similar. I have an investigator at the town. It's like, I think there's something fishy with my new wife. He was right. Would anybody else like to share what they did?
I like how Cruella de Vil and Ursula live in the same world.
Yeah, me too.
I was trying to think of a really cute name for it, you know, like how Cinderella 2 dreams come true, Cinderella 3. I couldn't think of anything that rhymed with 3.
No, I lost it.
I know there's a ton of words that rhyme with 3, but none of them have to do with plotting with enemies.
I'll say Cinderella 3, wait and see.
That's good. That's clever.
Mine doesn't have an ending. That's okay.
That's okay.
I put a twist on the 3 little pigs.
Great.
So it's the 3 little wolves and the mean old pigs. Based not on whatever. Once upon a time in the forest there lived 3 young wolves. These 3 wolves were preparing to move out of their family's den and go and make homes for themselves. They promised their mother and one another that they would always look out for each other. They also promised to stay away from the mean pigs. Months passed, and the wolves had each built a home for themselves. The first wolf built his house of straw, the second of sticks, the third of bricks. The mean pig family watched as they did all this, plotting a way to capture the wolves and kill them. First the pigs went to the first house and set fire to the straw, causing the wolf to run to his brother's house as his burned up. Then the pigs went to the second house and knocked it down with strong winds, so the 2 wolves ran to their sisters. The wolves hid in the house of bricks, terrified that the mean pigs, terrified of the mean pigs, afraid they would come and find out a way to get them. But the pigs were not prepared for the brick house and could not figure out for the life of them how to knock it down, burn it, or in any way destroy it. And that's all I have. It's like, crap. I actually read for a class that I'm currently in. We had to compare different fairy tales, and I read one that's Little Red Riding Wolf, and it's about wolves, and like one of them has a cute little red cape, and they're afraid of the humans because the humans like think the wolves are bad and they like want to kill all the wolves. It's kind of dark, but it's really actually a cute story. So
I'm intrigued.
if you ever, I will try to figure out what the title is and send it to you.
Yeah, please do.
Cute. Also, like I said, kind of dark. But yeah, that was kind of where I was like, what if the wolves weren't the bad guys?
I love that.
This kind of actually reminded me of a play that I directed one time about a bunch of fairy tales that were like kind of like all messed up, and they were on, I don't actually even remember too much of the plot, but it was like they were on trial.
The Trial of the Big Bad Wolf.
There we go. And then the audience got to like vote on whether or not the wolf was guilty or not, or if like Red Riding Hood was a big fat brat, or you know, those kinds of things.
Good memories.
I think Elizabeth might have been in that play. Yeah.
If I wasn't, Jacqueline definitely was involved, because I know we still have some show t-shirts floating around from it in our house.
Yeah, a light blue hoodie sweat. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Mine was also on the Little Pigs. Because I almost did Cinderella first. And then I was like, no, everyone does Cinderella. I'm not going to do Cinderella. But I did pigs, and then everyone did pigs. So mine, once upon a time, there were 3 little pig sisters. One was very simple, and she built a house of straw. One was quite average, and she built a house of sticks. And one was wise, and she built a house with bricks. A hungry wolf happened by their compound and could smell the pigs. She said, little pig, let me in. And the simple pig said, not by the hair of my shinny shin shin. So the wolf huffed and puffed and blew her house in. Simple pig ran, squealing, to the house of her average sister, the house of sticks. The pig wolf blew that house in too after a similar discussion, and the 2 pigs ran squealing into the house of their smart sister. When they arrived, her bags were packed, and she was climbing out the back window. Come on, let's run for it before the wolf catches her breath. I know of a grandmother's house where we will certainly be safe. I hear her granddaughter's coming to visit.
Wow. I also love this multiverse we've created. Also interesting, both of you made your pigs ladies, or at least some of your pigs ladies.
Mm-hmm. And the wolf was a girl too.
I was gonna say, my pigs were just the mean pigs.
Oh, that's true.
Genderless, but I did make one of the wolves a girl.
You're right. It was the wolves, not the pigs. You're right.
You're non-binary pigs, okay?
Right. I love that too.
Representation matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Kids need windows, mirrors, and sliding doors. Great school.
I love that. All right, I'll share mine because it was Claire. It was actually very similar to yours. It was not Cinderella, but it was also Evil Princess. So I was like, oh, brains connected. All right, mine's Rapunzel, who is my favorite princess. She watched from her window, her long blonde hair stretched out across the ledge and down the length of the tower. From here, she could see the whole kingdom, the castle glistening in the summer heat, faraway trees swaying in the breeze, and much closer, her knight in shining armor returned to her. He smiled at her from the ground, bypassing her braided hair, for the door hidden behind the shrubs. She waited until he emerged in her chambers, his Cheshire cat grin bright on his handsome face. Well, she asked. I got it, he said, spilling his satchel onto the floor and revealing the crown. Rapunzel snatched it up, catching her reflection in the shining jewels. It's perfect, she said, carefully setting the crown on her golden head. And when we sell it, we'll have enough to run away, her handsome knight promised. But Rapunzel wasn't interested in running away, not with the knight. Sorry, she said simply, smiling as the floor fell out from under him. She heard him land among the bones of her other victims. She laughed and looked at her reflection, the crown glistening on her head. Men always love to help a damsel in distress.
That is very dark, Elizabeth.
Now the bones of her other victims.
I know. I said it was dark. It took a turn I wasn't expecting.
Same.
I said plot twist, and I meant it. I just like the idea that she's got like a whole slew of suitors who like keep coming and finding this girl in a tower and are like, I'll do anything for you. And she's like, great. A Big Mac. The crown. She just keeps using them.
A Big Mac. And then you die for bringing a Big Mac.
She might keep them around for longer than just the Big Mac delivery, but like, yeah, she's just like use them and then be like, okay, that's enough.
That's what Uber Eats is for. Not
There's actually some Uber Eats drivers in the dungeon too. Poor guys. Kidding. She would never do that to a service worker. Only trashy men. Not all men are trash, but all the ones that help Rapunzel steal the crown are trash. So here we go. Okay. Okay, so for the last prompt of the evening, it's a sentence starter. So I'm going to drop it in the chat. I'll read it out too, but it's not that long, but then you'll have it for reference. So everybody, this is the first sentence of your story. Take it whatever way you want to go with it, and then we'll reconvene at like 7:20. We'll do last shares, and then we can chat until 7:30 when I let you go off into your evenings. So this last one, our prompt's going to be the sentence, she showed up at his door, soaking wet, hungry, and covered in glitter. So again, that's in the chat if you need to see it again. But who is she? How did she get there? Why is she covered in glitter? These are all the questions. All right. Well, last prompt of the night. Anybody want to share what you got?
I'll go. So I said, at the beginning, I said, she showed up at his door, soaking wet, hungry, and covered in glitter. Shelby was on her way to a party, but unexpectedly, a car came up close to her. She knew something was up. This this person had this person had glitter thrown on her face, a bucket of glitter. How could she have known? This was not a good start for Shelby on her way to her first boy-girl party. She kept walking. Maybe she would look cooler at the party if she had glitter. In more details, this party she was going to was at her boyfriend's house. She kept walking until a car was speeding through the neighborhood and ran over a pothole with water. She was soaking wet. She was even on the sidewalk, not that far from the road. It was only 10 minutes away. This party was only 10 minutes away from her house. She finally showed up at his door, soaking wet and covered in glitter. When he opened the door, he was in shock. And all she said was, "I just want a slice of pizza." He welcomed her in.
Really cute. I like that you played with time, so we know where we're gonna end up, kind of, and then we see how we got there. That was really fun. I liked that a lot. Girl, give her a pizza. It's what she deserves. Really cute. Natalie, Miss Barsha.
Okay, I had to go a different way with this because I have a current student and a former student in this group. So covered in glitter doesn't usually say rated PG to me. But anyway, so she showed up at his door soaking wet, hungry, and covered in glitter. Meow. "Oh no, you sweet, sweet kitten," he yelped. "Why are you so sparkly and wet?" He scooped her up, running with her at arm's length into the bathroom and placed her in the tub. How would he explain this glitter trail to his mom? The kitten sat patiently as he rubbed her dry with a fluffy towel plucked off the rack, another tough explanation to his mom, and gently shook the cat's tail to let even more glitter rain down into the tub. "I bet you belong to that 5-year-old next door. She's always barefoot, covered in paint and glue and crafty things. That child is basically feral." I got it as an idea because there was a 5-year-old walking down my street today, no shoes on a walk with her father. And I was like, what is wrong with this child?
It was 60 degrees today, Miss Barsha. It was summer.
I know, but I don't like barefoot kids. They seem feral.
And I like the term feral in the context of this story because you associate it with cats. So like the play on it's not the cat that's feral, it's the kid is like really fun to me. But yeah, no, I don't like barefoot children. I don't like barefoot. I'm not somebody who likes to be barefoot unless I'm like on the beach, like on the sand, because I don't trust the ground. I don't know what's down there. I have a nasty stub on my toe from walking around with my sandals the other day, and I like tripped on the sidewalk, so I can't be trusted to not have shoes on.
As kids, we were not allowed to go barefoot. We always had to have shoes on. So like, yeah, it was always kind of seen as this kind of thing that unparented children did. So, yeah.
I love being barefoot, so can't relate.
That's okay. My sister
I know, and it's actually very healthy to be barefoot sometimes. And I'm usually barefoot at home, but like outside, yeah. So.
Natalie, would you like to share?
Sure, why not?
Okay, if not.
I left mine with more. Mine leaves you with more questions than answers. So
the best things usually do.
So obviously she showed up at his door soaking wet, hungry, and covered in glitter. And yet as she rang his doorbell, she knew he would let her in. Their relationship had been rocky the past few months, and she wasn't always completely honest with him. But his best quality would always be his compassion. She shivered against the night, a cool breeze chilling her wet clothes, which clung closely to her small figure. From inside the flat, she could hear his footsteps, and as the door opened, she looked up at his confused face. I can explain.
It's such a good opening. Like I want a movie to open on that. So we're like, what happened? It's great. All right, I'll go with mine. All right. Shockingly, everyone, she showed up at his door, soaking wet, hungry, and covered in glitter. Generally, Mark was used to his best friend Gina arriving at all hours, but this was a new low wasn't the right word. After all, it wasn't her fault that the sprinklers had turned on right as she'd climbed out of the car, and as a kindergarten teacher, glitter just seemed to follow her around. She frowned up at him, makeup smudged around her eyes. Your sprinklers are broken, she said, pushing past him for the hall bathroom and a towel. She wiped her arms, a pool of water at her feet. Can we order Chinese food? It's 10 a.m. on a Saturday. And I want Chinese food, she said. He huffed. Fine, just clean up this puddle you left in the entryway. Guys, excellent job all around. 4 very different stories with all one prompt. I like that prompt. It's weird and interesting. But we only have a few minutes left, so I just wanted to see if anybody had any questions, if there's anything you wanted to talk about, thank you so much, how you liked the class, and if there's anything that you would like to focus on moving forward so that Natalie knows, because I won't be here, but she will.
I was going to say, Claire, any input for future?
No, I just like working on the prompts and just practicing my writing because I would like to be a better writer. I mean, I'm in the journalism club at school, so
Cool.
I get feedback there, but I like to hear other people's perspectives
And some
what
creative
I
writing
need to
too.
work on and what I'm good at. So yeah.
Yeah, cool. Okay, I will keep that in mind. Hopefully this actually keeps happening every month. I feel like the last 2 months nothing's happened.
Claire, do you know so you're in the journalism club. Are you an aspiring Rory Gilmore? Do you want to be a journalist someday, or just cool?
Yes, I would love to be a journalist someday.
Very cool. That's a cool thing to aspire to. Are there any journalists you look up to, or just in general you just like the whole thing? This is also not to put you on the spot.
I like many, but I mean, I just like the job in general, really. Yeah.
Well, you're a really good writer, so I'm sure that someday I'm going to be reading the paper and I'm going to be like, this girl was in one of my writing classes. No doubt.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Well, yeah, and maybe you'll teach a class at a library someplace, and then I'll come and I'll, take your class as a journalism major and stuff like that. That'll be fun. You make us write some news story about whatever's going on at the time.
About this wacky girl who showed up at her friend's house covered in glitter.
I'll make it into a cat again, so so it's school appropriate.
I love it. Well, it's 7:30, so I want to be respectful of all of your times. Thank you so much for coming. This was so very fun. Ms. Barsha, what a treat. Claire, I can't wait to read everything you write. Natalie, a gem. Thrilled to have met you.
Still can't believe that I saw you as Peter Pan and had
that was blowing my mind.
Who would have known we were in the same grade, just at different schools? Go figure.
Wild.
Wow.
Well, thank you very much. I very rarely get to sit down and write creatively, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, this was fun. So thank you for having me.
Nice to see you, Elizabeth. Tell your sister I said hi.
I will.
All right.
Yeah.
Good luck to you.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Claire. You were a gem.
See you on Wednesday.
Bye. Yeah.